This is Tim, Recovery Coach Tim. This is the third package in the videos dealing with your personality. Where does your personality come from? Where does your character come from? Where do your influences come from? The first video was looking at the pressure from the outside in, that I call your style, and the other is from your inside out. It's kind of how you think the world would react, what you need to do. That's your image. That's from the inside out. When those personalities don't work so well, when you have a lot of stress, you're not getting the goodies in life, that's where I think the addictions come from. But a lot of time, your style and your image will determine what type of addiction you have, depending on if it's shame-based and you kind of sabotage yourself, or if you're out trying to do a lot of recruiting, say as a relationship issues. You do a lot of flirting, things like that. Those personalities issues will determine lots of times what type of addictions you come to. I also believe there is a predisposed genetic predisposition, kind of that, but there's also a surrounding circumstantial environment pressure from that. Generally speaking, when we're talking about addictions, these are artificial ways of trying to get your needs met. It's when your styles and your images don't work very well, and so you need something to artificially make that better. That's what we talk about alcohol. The AA motto is the reason that alcoholics drink is because it works for the effect. And if you're in the recruiting business, you might say that candy's dandy, but liquor's quicker. That's the kind of things that give us these artificial substances or these behaviors that will make them work. So when the styles quit working, the images quit working, or they're frustrated with that, then the addictions will be prevalent. But they also determine the type. When I was talking about if you're a hero, let's say that you're the overachiever, you're trying to be the hero of the family, then you probably will only use addictions that are socially acceptable in those kind of realms. So those are the kind of things I'm talking about. So generally speaking, most of your addictions have to artificially work when your styles and your images quit working. So we look at those things together. I have a sheet that I'd like for you to look at. That's in the back. It's called your family tree. Download the family tree, and you go through your family of origin, your mom, your dad, your grandparents, and you look your brothers and sisters and click on what kind of style they have, what kind of image they have, and maybe what kind of addictions they have. And you fill all that out, and then you'll look at it together. We'll discuss it. But you'll see that a lot of your characterizations, your behavior, the addictions you choose come from some form of influence. And that's why I think it's healthy to look at your family of origin, your family tree. And then, of course, I have a saying that has to do with all that, that more than likely it's not your fault that you've put into these categories, but it is your responsibility to decide what you're going to do about it. That's what we mean by recovery. If you can learn how to take care of yourself spiritually, then you won't have to learn how to take care of yourself artificially. Artificially are styles, artificially are images, artificially are addictions. So if you want to deal with any of those characterizations or any addictions, I think the process would be a program or an identity or a taking care of yourself in the spiritual way. That's what this coaching is all about, is learning how to take care of yourself spiritually so you won't have to take care of yourself artificially. I believe that helps everybody with recovery.